So, you have a qualification, but you're not getting the job opportunities. This is the right place to be in. My name is Smita, and I'm a corporate recruiter with around 15 years of experience in talent acquisition. And I do screening of CVs every day. There are certain mistakes that is killing your opportunity, and you are not even realizing that. Those are the facts that I'm going to share with you today so that it helps you in your job search and in your career. So, there is a fact that good candidates might not get rejected for sure, but applications which are bad will certainly get rejected. Some candidates are making mistakes which don't even realize it exists, but they are completely killing your opportunities, which you can actually get through if you are doing the correct things. So today I'm going to share the top 5 mistakes that the candidates are doing while applying for a job opportunity and they don't realize that. I think, as per my experience, the first and foremost is applying to the job opportunities just randomly with the same CV. So, first is that you are applying with the same CV to each and every job role, which is actually not the correct thing to do. You have to see what opportunity is there in the market and what the recruiter is exactly looking at before sending your profile, your CV anywhere for any of the job opportunity. You have to first of all tailor your CV. So this is the first mistake that you are doing. Without tailoring your CV, you are applying with the same CV everywhere. You have to completely avoid doing that. You have to see what is the experience the recruiter is looking at, and every time you apply for the opportunity with tailored CV. I know this is going to take a lot of time, but if you are really serious about getting a job, you have to do certain things, and this is one of the things. You have to highlight what they are looking at. If you are an IT candidate, you might be having experience in several projects. You must have experienced several IT platforms, technologies, tools, and everything. So you cannot be putting everything in your CV, whatever you have, and sending it to all the opportunities, all the job requirements. That is not going to certainly help you out. You have to take time out. Do not apply to every role that is out there in the market. If you are seriously looking out for a job, give time, maybe 1 hour in a day. If you have the role that you need to apply for, you first of all tailor your CV accordingly. You have to highlight the skill set that the recruiter is looking at. You have to make it bold in your CV. You have to highlight the projects wherein you have that experience. And I will say, not only for IT but for any job role for that matter. You have to completely make sure that your CV is prepared for a particular role. Then only you share it with the talent acquisition team, so that in the first screening your profile doesn't get rejected. I have seen that happening every time. It feels, we as a talent acquisition professionals, we get thousands of CVs every day from everywhere. We do the screening, and in one go we either reject the profile or select the profile. Okay, so I might help you with a experience also that I had in my career. For one of the opportunity, I completely remember, it was a senior level position just below the CTO. I was hiring for a candidate, and there were two candidates, out of which I thought that both having similar experience, both having similar kind of knowledge and qualifications as well. I had to pick one to send it to my CTO for the hiring. My base of selecting the candidate was looking at the CV. Now both the CV looked completely similar to me. I spoke to both of the candidates. I told them that I want you to share the CV with me, completely professional CV, because it is going to a senior management, and it will be actually seen what you are writing in your CV and how you're presenting yourself. So you have to completely edit it and send it to me accordingly. One of the candidate, the male candidate, he just did a little bit of here and there were typo errors which the candidates feel that it will not going to hamper their opportunity, just a typing error and few mistakes in the spelling of the words, so that will not going to do anything with me, like anything for my CV. He sent the same CV to me. The other candidate, she completely took out time to tailor the CV. She edited everything, she highlighted the projects that we were looking at, the experience that we wanted, the skill set, the technologies, and I could actually see how desperate she is for this role, how much time she has taken out to do this, and I was completely impressed by the candidate. So obviously, knowingly, unknowingly, I was more interested in that candidate, and I took that candidate ahead to my CTO, and fortunately the candidate got hired as well. I'm not saying that she got hired because of her CV, but yes, the screening which was done by me, was because of her CV. I'm not a technical person for that matter. I saw her CV, I saw her zeal, everything, and I forwarded her CV and she got hired. So that actually helped her get through the talent acquisition team, which was me in her case. So this is one example I'm telling you, that you have to look at such incidences. You have to understand the fact that you have to be presentable when you are applying for a job opportunity, and you cannot be presentable if you're doing that to maybe thousands of opportunities every month, if you're applying to hundreds of opportunities in the Naukri portal or any other portal every day. So you have to avoid doing that. You cannot be doing that. If you are actually looking out for a job every day, sit with a target, find the jobs, and then apply with the correct CV which can highlight your skill set. So this generic resume thing is certainly not going to work out for you. Understand this and work accordingly. I'll tell you, the second mistake that the candidate does is ignoring the job description. So it is actually related. Both of the things are actually related. You have to see the job description completely, then only you will understand that what the company is looking at for this role, and then accordingly you will tailor your CV. So not reading the job description properly is completely some. So, not reading the job descriptions completely and ignoring the fact that you should be knowing what actually you are applying for is one of the biggest mistake that you can do. You have to completely understand what you are stepping into, what the recruiter is looking at. By any chance, if recruiter is making a first call to you and screening after screening your CV, and you're not able to answer properly that which opportunity you have applied for, that completely ruins, and it turns the recruiter down, that the candidate is actually not very interested in the job role. It also creates a kind of an impression in our mind that you might not give the interviews also post. Maybe if your profile gets shortlisted, you will not be interested in giving the interview also later, because you are not even interested in reading out the job description. So this is something that completely you should be avoiding. When you are applying for the role, you should be knowing what this role actually is seeking from you, what is something that you need to do when you step into that role, so that whenever you have your first level of discussion, you can confidently answer your questions that is thrown on you, and you can actually prove that how much you are interested in the job. That completely creates a different persona for you, different impression on the recruiter. And as I told you initially also, it is very, very important to get through the first step, to reach to the hiring manager and get an opportunity of giving the interviews. If you do not cross your first step, you will obviously not get into the final lead. So coming into the third thing, it is a poor resume quality. Now, here we are not talking about the job description or anything, it is your CV. We are not talking about how you're presenting it. Maybe presentation can be a 10% thing, but there are other things also, like small little typos. I have seen many of the CVs where candidates do not pay attention to what they're doing wrong. Sometime even after making the CV, there will be some of the typos that we can actually see, but we ignore. We feel that these things are not important because you are presenting your skill set there, and that is something is more important. But that is not the fact. As I told you, your first impression is your CV, and that is going to be last impression, at least on the recruiter who's going to take your profile ahead and share it with the talent acquisition manager, share with the hiring manager, and get you interviewed. So do not take that kind of a risk. Proper alignment of the CVs, the typos, actually the errors in the spelling, these are small little things, but this is something that you should be completely ignoring. Your resume actually represents you when you are not in the room, right? So it talks about you, who you are, what is your skill set, how you're presenting yourself. So do not take any chances there, and please, I request you to pay attention while making your CV. I will talk about mistake number 4 here: weak or no cover letter. So some of the candidates just plainly start with mentioning the name, the address, the contact details, and then your professional experience. But please, I request to give a cover letter for your CV. Recruiters, as I'm reiterating again and again, view thousands of CVs every day for different kind of opportunities, or maybe for a single role as well. If people do blindly say share their CVs, which actually not help them also, but then they do it, and we all know that, right? Blindly sending the CVs, we cannot read entire resume and screen it. So there, your cover letters pays for it. You have to mention whatever is the highlight of your CV in your cover letter. Please do not ignore this, because that's what the recruiter sees in the first go. And if your cover letter is correct, if it is interesting, if it is catching my attention, I will go ahead and I will read your CV. If there is no cover letter, myself or any other recruiter will not be interested in looking at your entire CV, because we have to screen so many candidates every day, so many CVs every day. So we cannot make we cannot actually spend so much of time in looking at the entire CV. So that's why I request you to please always put your cover letter in your CV. You cannot be avoiding that for sure. When everything looks the same, the effort stand out. If every CV is looking same to me, I mean, there'll be no difference, right? So your efforts of putting your cover letter in the CV will make you stand out for sure. Okay, so now coming to the 5th mistake that you have to avoid is not doing any research about the company that you are applying for. I completely understand there are certain opportunities wherein you do not even know that what company you are applying for. This is the opportunity open for which of the organization. You have no idea. In those cases, you can't be doing anything. What you can do is, if you by any chance you have a first conversation with your recruiter, try and get the understanding what is this organization. If not the company name, at least the industry, so that you can do a little background research for yourself. And if you know the company name, nothing like it, obviously, then you can have the complete understanding. When you're talking to the recruiter or you are talking to the hiring manager, if you talk about the company, if you tell them that why you are interested in the company, I mean, what is the future you see for the organization and for yourself by being in that company, if you have that kind of a knowledge, and if you showcase this knowledge in front of hiring manager, you are completely making a way for you, which the other person who doesn't know anything about the company will not be able to do any way possible I mean, it is not something that you can actually do if you don't know about the organization. It will completely help you stand out if you know about the organization, and if you can speak about the organization, why you feel that you if you are being going to be a part of the organization, it is going to be good for you or your future. What do you feel the company is going to be in the next 5 or 10 years, and how you can leverage out of it, how you can grow with the organization. You have to understand the growth path of the company, you have to understand the vision and mission of the company. See, these are, whatever I'm telling you are the small little facts, but trust me, as a talent acquisition manager, I can tell you that these things, though it looks small, but this is going to help you a lot while applying for the opportunity, and you will definitely stand out from your peers. So let me clear one thing: we do not reject candidates, we reject the applications. We don't even. So, people, let me tell you one thing: we reject applications, we do not reject the candidates. We spend only seconds, not even minutes, in screening the profile. So make it easy for us to say yes to the job applications. And also, there is a good news: whatever I've told you in this video is completely flexible. There's no big thing, these are small little changes, but it can certainly change your results. My last suggestion will be that apply smartly to the role which is actually relevant for you. Do not apply everywhere. Concentrate, make changes, and apply. I promise this is going to give you results. And all the best for your job search.